Good evening and welcome to yet another stream. Today we're going to talk about the vaunted, what do you call it, lateral movements. And we're of course going to try and explain the whys and wherefores and whether to's about those exercises, so that we can have a better understanding of how and when to use these exercises. We tend to focus on the basics all the time. These are of course basics, and the point of these exercises is to overload specific parts of the movement of the horse. You can say specific muscles, but that's not quite, it doesn't hit the mark in the middle, so to speak. The point is to be able to come near to the troublesome areas from different angles, so that you can make all joints move better from all different kinds of angles that you use.
And for the horse and rider to coordinate better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a lot of videos to see today.
Oh yeah, so we're in a hurry.
No, but we can start quite early.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd like to first just say that we are going to focus today on 3 exercises. It's the leg yield, the shoulder in, and the haunches in, or the half pass, or, well, various degrees of pass.
Oh, travers.
Yeah, it's so hard to say in English. I'm not even going to try half pass. I'm going to stick with that. The point of a half pass, or the name, comes from the horse moving 50% forward and 50% sideways. So at a 45-degree angle in the arena, more or less. You can do a 3/4 pass or a quarter pass, and whatever you try to write down, this limits you, of course. You can, let's put it this way. If we find the correct rhythm and feeling and balance in the horse, and then we put the horse into some sort of pass across the arena, and we find that you can stay in the exact same rhythm and balance in that angle, say 48.5 degrees. But if you go to 48, then you will drop out of this rhythm. Then you have found exactly what your horse is able to in those circumstances. Of course, if you lengthen or shorten or whatever, then you can change everything up. So quite often these exercises that we describe and that are described in the books that we find, quite often they are just the bare bones of what's possible with those exercises. So we are going to try and show you in a bunch of videos today different riders, different horses doing sideways exercises, lateral exercises that will be different angles of attack in order to improve the horses.
And in dressage competition, in the rules, these exercises have been described really accurately.
Yeah.
You know, how many tracks, how the angle, and things like that. But when you're training, you're using those exercises as a tool to become to help the horse to become better, to coordinate better, to be more fluid in his movement. And then we don't care so much about the accuracy of how many tracks, and we have to feel what the horse needs at that exact moment.
Precisely.
And when you come to the competition, you will say, okay, now I need to show the judge that I can do it exactly in this way.
Yep.
But that is, of course, the training of the horse.
Oh, yes, of course it is. Of course it is. All right. I think we're ready to roll video, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's jump into it. Play a video.
And it's, of course, me.
It's you.
The
Hooray.
first one. Yeah. And the only thing that happens here is that the horse is walking forwards.
All right.
But
why is that interesting?
Because I wanted us to talk about how it's important that the horse is loose and rhythmic.
All right.
And this horse has great trouble with his rhythm and his looseness.
Absolutely. You can see his hind legs, they prefer to be, stilts,
Yes.
from what I can see.
Pogo sticks.
Pogo sticks, that's a good one.
At least the left one.
However, his neck looks better than it used to, I feel.
Yeah, it does.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And his front legs move better, I think.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So next movie, in our next video,
Yeah.
we can just jump onto that right away.
Yeah.
Then we're going to start doing some leg yields from the corner there. And we can see that he's stiff. You know, so he's lifting his head. He's like, this is not diagonal, not much. And he's leading with his backside and
sometimes
then,
the one, sometimes the other, and still on a loose rein, I would say.
yeah, because he can't do it with a shorter one because then he gets really tense.
Right.
So this is you in a competition. This would not collect any great points.
No.
Because he is too open in his outline. He is not rhythmic, but it's a very good exercise for him.
Yes.
Because you can see that we're trying now to let the right hind leg lift the left front leg forwards. So the diagonal that goes through that line is sort of pushing the shoulder forwards.
Yeah.
And that is a very good exercise for him. And it's a very practical exercise for a young young horse or a horse that has got trouble in his movement. And you can see now he's getting a little smoother.
Yeah, and also he crosses more.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
Yeah,
that crossing of the legs will, of course, give a lot of practical suppleness.
Yes.
Functional
in the shoulders and the hip joints.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Also, of course, through the back, if you get it right.
Yep. The diagonal structures of the back that we have talked so much about.
Yep.
And it's important now that the horse is straight in his body and just positioned to the inside with his head. And now he's like bent a little too much in the neck.
Yeah.
But that is what the horse needs. Because
you can see that he's bent in the neck, yes. He's also bent in the body.
Now we see the shoulder in, or the versade.
Shoulder in for him, not easy at all. And because he wants to keep his hind legs straight, he pushes you to the outside. So
yes.
and that sort of perpetuates that movement. It's really difficult to get that right. So even if he's moving on 3 tracks, let's say he was, I didn't notice
he was or
at least 3, I think.
Yeah,
closing
it's
on
not
4.
consistent.
No,
he's struggling.
Yeah. So, all right, now you are doing a concerted effort to get on on the inside here sometimes.
Yeah, it's just like climbing a mountain.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But you're working on it, and now his inside hind starts to look a little slow.
Yeah, that's good.
That is probably a good thing. Sometimes it's not a good thing, but in this instance it is. Is this the same?
Yeah.
Over? Yeah. Yeah. So you can see the inside leg and the outside leg are sort of the rider.
And you can see also that he's tilting his head.
Yeah.
And that I need to help him a little with my hand and hold my hand out to the side, because then he's getting not that tense and struggling against the inside rein.
Yeah. Do not be afraid to open up a little bit with young horses, or horses who are young in the training, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but towards the end of this side, you can see that right hind becomes a little more slow. And the outside hind doesn't push away.
Yeah.
All right. And that's one of the main differences between the shoulder in and the leg yield.
Yeah.
The leg yield allows the hind legs to be straight but cross, and the shoulder in wants the inside hind to give.
And here's the traverse as well.
Yeah.
The half pass.
Yeah.
And you can see that he's a little tense. Still, he's very tense in his neck, so that is his big problem. But he needs to do work on these exercises as well. in order to improve his coordination and his
agility.
And can we see a little again of that?
The last exercise there?
At children and half pass, because it's important to look a little more at what is the purpose of this. The purpose of the half pass. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, the purpose of the half pass is double. Can you keep this rolling, please?
Yeah.
And it is, because it's double, it's really difficult. I just said that the point of the shoulder in, the last exercise we saw, is to make the inside hind carry. That means it needs to be bent and when it's on the ground.
Bent and cushioning while
so it's sort of cushioning a little bit and pushing off a little bit. This exercise is doubly difficult because what you want here is the inside hind, which is the one to our left when we're looking at the screen now. Of course, it's the rider for the rider's right and the horse's right hind leg. That is supposed to grip forward underneath the belly of the horse. So we can see here, this is very difficult for him, so he doesn't do a very good job, but we want the right hind to move forward and the left hind to move sideways. And sometimes he wants to move the right hind sideways and then the left hind sideways too. But some of the strides, you can see that inside hind comes forward, and some of them it sort of sticks out to the side too much. All right.
But when you do this in walk, you have the time and sort of the calmness to just do this in a way that the horse is able to cope with, even though he's stiff.
It's extremely difficult to learn at high speed.
Yeah.
So what we want is the inside hind to grip forward and bend, and the outside hind to cross over, also bent, and push off from that very much more difficult position. It has to stretch further to get to the ground than it does when the horse is doing its leg yield, and also, of course, than it does in the shoulder in. So if we watch again, the right hind, the horse's right hind, is supposed to grip forward and the left hind sideways. And you can see sometimes it grips sideways, the right hind, but now it'll start come forward a little bit, and then you can see he starts leading with the haunches a little bit too. The angle probably tricks us a little, but he's also leading a little bit with the haunches.
Yeah.
And that is because it's extremely hard to do this exercise correctly, as it were. If you want to have high grades and high classes in the dressage, of course it's difficult. That's why it's called difficult dressage.
Yes.
And that means it isn't easy for any horse, and a horse that has some troubles will have more problem with it.
And this half pass is, of course, also collecting exercises, helping the horse to collect, because it needs to bend his haunches.
It doesn't have to.
And good point. Tell me more about that.
Yes. We can do all sorts of exercises. We can call them whatever we like. But we have to look at the quality of the exercise. Quite often we build up, so you can see a structuring where you can see all the different exercises. You can, let's say, circles of different sizes and different speeds. And then if you can do circles, then you can do a leg yield. And then when you can do the leg yield, then you can do the shoulder in. And after a while, when you've done the shoulder in for a while on both reins, and spent half a year or or a month or whatever, I don't know, on this, then you will be able to do maybe haunches in or the half pass as we just showed, and then you can keep building more and more difficult exercises. But there is no use building difficult exercises if the quality of the riding doesn't build with it. That's why we have the training scale on the side of that. So whenever you're doing a shoulder in, we want you to have a look at what qualities did you have in your shoulder in. This is the point of all this that we're trying to tell you. The point of it is to give you tools to help you ride better. So if you're riding a shoulder in, was the horse rhythmic? Was he loose? Did he come to the contact? Did you lose the contact in the inside rein, outside rein? Did he come to your seat? Did he come to both your legs?
And that is very relevant to these clips, because you can see when the shoulder in, not the one that we were studying now, but the one before that.
Yeah.
Can we see that, Eva? Because then in that you can see that Dalton is lifting his head every time he moves one of his shoulders. Can you see?
Lift,
every time
lift,
he moves
lift,
his outside
lift.
front leg, he lifts his
Yeah.
So he's sort of lame. He's not lame, but he's stiff in that shoulder.
Yes.
So that is something that we need. Then we're using this exercise both as a sort of probe,
a diagnostics tool.
Yes, and also a way to fix the problem. Because if you do it more in a relaxed way and try to ride as rhythmic as we can actually help the horse become more supple in that shoulder.
We will.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Yeah. So on the one side, the different exercises. On the other side, the training scale that you can use to diagnose your own exercises all the time. It doesn't sound all that complex, but it is really. Really is.
Have we said something about the aids for this?
No, not yet, but we will.
We could do that, but we have several other videos to say.
I think we should roll on the next video. The next, the white video, I think.
The white horse.
The white horse. And his name that sat on him. Nah.
You can see, this horse is like 22 years old. And he has had all kinds of troubles in his body. So you can see that he's stiff and his diagonals are difficult. So now he's very slowly and easy and sort of taking it easy. He's trying to move his right hind leg so that he pushes his left front leg forwards in that diagonal.
Yeah, also the aids are the inside leg will drive that inside hind forward and a little bit sideways. If you want the horse to go more sideways, keep your leg a little bit further back. Also, make sure your weight moves outwards even though you're not allowed to lean outwards.
So you can have your weight on the inside seat bone, but you can move the horse outwards with that seat bone.
Yes.
You can see now that he's more supple now.
Already after this second lap, his head is coming right. He's yielding sometimes so that inside rein isn't there all the time. The rider's leg comes forward sometimes, and the reason for that is that the horse drops his back. Because when the horse doesn't drop his back, it's easy to keep your leg in place.
Yes.
This is extremely difficult to understand. All right, you can see that the pulling of the reins doesn't do much from what I can see. It's a little bit of a slow down, a little bit of yielding. And when the horse isn't in a stable outline, then you'll have to move your hand around to find that outline sometimes if you want to do exercises that the horse find a little bit difficult.
And now he says, "Oh, this is difficult."
Oh, then he's stretched and blew out a bit, and then he finds a better rhythm again.
And it's important that the horse is able to express everything that he finds difficult, because how should we else know?
Yeah, and now he said, "Enough of this. I'm going to move forward."
Mm-hmm. And now the diagonality is better. Because this
How
horse...
can you see that? Can you tell me about that?
Huh.
Gotcha.
I'm like, can't you see that?
No.
It's like the rhythm is better, so that the diagonal legs move in a more rhythmic way. I think it's just it's difficult to explain. I can't explain it.
It's one of those feeling things, is it?
Yeah, and experience thing is it's difficult. You need to practice to see it. But what you can see with this particular horse is that he usually walks. If you if you don't work with his straightness, he will walk like a, what's that? Komodo dragon?
A Komodo dragon, yeah.
Yeah, he will walk like this.
YouTube Komodo dragon, you'll find it. Yeah,
So
it looks like a crocodile when it moves.
so his
like
neck,
the whole
yeah.
body moving sideways, like.
He's walking like
Yeah.
this.
He's funny to look at, but
very,
not
very
nice
strange.
for him.
But that is because he has been so stiff in his shoulders and
He's been stiff
hips.
everywhere.
Yeah, but the hips have not been moving, so that he had to, in order to move forwards, he needed to just bend in his midsection.
Yep. To
Like
accommodate for the
Yeah.
to accommodate.
So then, and of course the hip joints. Google the hips. What? Did you say something funny and I didn't get it?
It was stupid actually, but
Okay.
it made me laugh.
Yeah, the hip joints. Many horses don't move their hip
Absolutely,
joints.
that is absolutely true.
So they're trying to compensate with all kinds of strange ways to move. For instance, when he was moving that way, he also like were doing this with his hind legs.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
So, and that is very detrimental for the joints in the hind legs.
Yep.
So. What I was looking at there when he was, it's difficult to see from the side, so it's difficult to explain. But I could see that he was not doing this that much. He was going like more straight forwards with his shoulders and his hips.
So it's sort of related to straightness, then, of course, this diagonality. Yeah, cool. Roll next, please.
Now we're doing it in the trot. And we're taking it nice and easy because this horse, he needs to find his rhythm in a relaxed and slow pace. And here you can see that he's holding his head a little to the side. That is because of stiffness, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong training, because that is what he needs to do right now. And when you get lower grades, when you are riding a dressage test and the horse is holding his head to the side like that, that is because that shows that the horse is still stiff.
Yep.
But then you just have to do it and ride through it, and the horse will loosen up.
Yeah. So you're training the horse to become better.
Yes. Don't be afraid to do things in training that you will not do in the competition.
It's extremely important to try and do things that you aren't really able to do perfectly, or else how will you ever progress, right? So that is also the point of the training scales that we're always nagging about. It is that when you do one of your sideways exercises, your lateral movements, I just say sideways because that's the Norwegian word, right? The lateral movements, put the training scale into it. Find out what you're missing. Is it all the way up there with schwung or impulsion, or is it straightness that's lacking? Of course it is always, but did the horse straighten his hind legs when he did his sideways exercises? When he does, let's say the horse is doing a half pass. If the legs, or one of the legs, is straight from the point it touches the ground until it leaves the ground again, the exercise is completely without collection.
And that is when the horse is sort of pushing you on to the outside.
It will to the outside, or whatever sort of side you can guess, really. So then always use the training scale, is my point here, so that you can understand how your horse is developing during your training in your exercises. And you can feel that even in one training session. You can feel that the horse came better to the contact.
Yeah.
Good job. And then then you understand how to use the exercise to make your horse better and your riding better.
And when you're training, it's important to because people are so for instance, they're so afraid of when we saw this rider, it was riding, and the head of the horse was a little like this.
Mm-hmm.
And many people say to me, I can't ride like this because it's wrong to ride with a horse with a nose a little to the side like this.
Yeah.
But that is what the horse needs to do because he's stiff here. And then we need to ride with a horse like this because then he needs to go into that problem and try to stretch there, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, but many people are afraid to do that exercise because they can't do it correctly.
You can't do the exercise perfectly before you try it?
No, it's
Weird.
like, and I say to them, okay,
strange.
if I do this in the gym, it doesn't mean that I walk like this down the street.
All right.
No. So, and then I walk like this. But when I train in the gym to be more flexible, I do this.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks strange when I'm going to go out there and look normal to other people.
Yeah.
So there is one thing that you do in the exercise arena, and some things that you do when you try to be proper and show something that is sort of a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going into the dressage arena, the horse's head needs to be carried in the straight way. Of course, bent to the side, but not like this.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just a sign that the horse is still stiff here. Then we need to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So just an example.
So the difference is if you try to ride the exercise and the horse is too much bent or positioned to one side or the other,
mm-hmm.
it can't be because you're pulling. That's wrong. If you're
it
pulling,
can be.
yeah, but if you're pulling,
this was not pulling.
That's my point. That if you're pulling, it's wrong.
Yeah.
If you're not pulling, but the horse chooses that, then you will have to yield into that
or ride more.
Ride more and yield your hands, and ride more and yield your hands, and do it again and again. Be soft in your hands always, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the horse will still do all sorts of weirdo.
But then we know.
Then we know.
Then it's a good thing because then you could use it as a diagnose, so that you say, okay, my horse is a little stiff here. Or with my horse that we saw, when he moved one of his shoulders, he was like.
Yeah.
And then we know
he's stiff back here somewhere,
yeah.
Right?
So we can work on that. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, shall we look at you?
Is it Mina?
Yeah, the black horse.
Let's look at Mina.
And this is also a good thing. You can see that the horse is. We've taken videos from the start of the lesson, so he's a little stiff in the beginning. And then we're using...
It's quite stiff actually. Let's see it again. That's just fun, isn't it? So he wants... No, he doesn't want to go sideways. He wants to go... Oh, well, okay, I can... No, wait, I'll go forward. And maybe sideways a little. Now I'll go forward again.
Leading with the hindquarters.
Yeah, and then leading with the shoulders. And he's doing all sorts of little thingies. That's not correct. I'm trying to keep my weight to the left side, the correct side in this instance. I'm collapsing slightly in my outside, in my midsection, just a little bit. The inside leg looks higher, but it's because I'm keeping it back and up a little bit. The weight is correctly placed, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this horse has not done a lot of sideways movements. He's done a lot of circles, and he's done... Yeah, he's done a lot of circles and short straight lines. I've done a lot. Long straight lines I'm not much into. He's not jousted a lot, has he?
No, he's quite young.
Yeah, so and very young in the training. He's been training for a year and a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is difficult for him. But as you can see, he is flexible enough. He just doesn't quite get the correct balance and rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
New exercise. No, same exercise. From the front this time. It's very difficult, Dad. And it's much more difficult towards this side of the arena. There's something dangerous over by the fence on this side.
And then you can see that his head is up and down, and then he just shows that oh, this is difficult because I think it's because he's a little stiff in the shoulders.
Just slightly.
But you never know when the horse reacts like that.
Yeah.
You never know exactly where it is.
No, but you can see that
do
you can see that his shoulders are stiff because he's really struggling to cross them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you can see it's very difficult for him to cross his shoulders at all, and he wants to just point his nose and chest towards the direction we walk in. Why can't we just do that, Dad? It's much easier.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the reason. It's easier. We want to make it difficult.
And here you can see that you're just asking him to walk sideways.
Yeah.
There is no specific exercise that you're doing.
No, it's maybe closer to a leg yield than any of the others, but
Yeah,
but it's not.
in the beginning you just ask the horse, can you move like this? Can you go walk sideways?
Mm-hmm.
And then the horse is like, why? This is strange.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have to do it again, and then calmly ask him, and then reward him afterwards when he's done what you, something in the way of what you've been asking.
Yep. I think he's doing pretty all right. Not
Yeah,
bad at
he
all.
does.
Yeah, then he flukes up over in that corner. That's
Yeah.
all right. So you can see the rhythm is all messed up. The contact is not very nice, but the rhythm is sort of improving a little bit. Then he goes towards trot, comes back, tries to collect a little bit, and then he tries to cross his legs a bit, and it's all of it is a little bit difficult for him, and he's not used to it. And then he gets very excited because it was difficult, and it was sort of kept in a difficult outline too.
But you can see that he's stretching his shoulders more here.
Yeah. It's easier for him to stretch his shoulders this way. That's actually interesting for me. Need to think about that one.
So it's a good thing to video your stuff and look at it
No.
from time to time. So, can we look at the next one?
Yeah, I've seen this one 1,000 times now. That's all right. You know, it's one of the nice things about being a riding teacher is that you get to repeat yourself over and over. And I like to watch myself over and over too. I don't like that. But
And now you're doing the half pass.
not quite half, maybe. A bit of a pass?
Yeah,
Is that
this is
an
the first time
exercise?
that horses have done it.
Yeah, yes. As you can see on my smile, this is just... He thinks it's very difficult. So
But
I'm
it is
trying
difficult.
desperately to keep my weight to the right side. You can see that I'm failing quite often. I'm trying not to straighten my right leg. I'm failing at that all the time. And I'm trying to not... There we go. Tongue out. That always means that you're doing a good job. My tongue, I mean.
And
So,
and
there's
you
a little
rewarded
bit-
him because he actually
He
tried.
did great.
Yeah, and we could say something about the aids for the half pass, because then you sit on the inside, because
Yep.
the inside is the way the horse is bent to
Yep.
or positioned to.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
But in the shoulder in, you're sitting also on the inside. But then you're sitting on the side that the horse is moving from.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're sitting on the side that the horse is moving to.
Yeah.
And that is difficult for many people to understand.
Yep.
But you always need to sit on the inside
Of the bend.
of the bend.
Yeah. So it's easy to make the horse follow your weight. So if I lean to one side, the horse will have an easier time going to that side.
Mm-hmm.
But that is because when you lean to one side, the horse will straighten his hind legs
Yes.
and follow your weight to that side.
Mm.
And that's so. If you say the horse is bent like so, and he's going to move that way. So he needs to cross this hair hind leg in that direction, right? If I lean more to that side, then the horse will have to cross this leg further over to that side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that means he will have to straighten it out before it hits the ground.
Yeah.
And then the hind leg will be straight as the horse crosses over.
And then it becomes a pogo stick.
And then it is a very, very fancy leg yield
Mm-hmm.
with a wrong bend.
Yeah.
So then it becomes, that doesn't improve what you're looking after, what you're looking to improve. The same is true in the shouldering. If you've got the horse bent again like that, and you move straight forward, that's the point of the shouldering. But it's easy to sit over to the side you're moving sort of towards. So you sit on the outside to try and help the horse go that way. Then the inside hind will reach over and do the same idea. So it won't...
sitting on the inside to bend that inside hind leg.
Yes, or even the outside hind leg.
Yeah.
So you sit to the inside in order to make the exercise more difficult for the horse, which is kind of, why would I do that? Yeah, you would do that in order to make the exercise more difficult for your horse. It's like going into the gym. Why would I squat with weights? I can do it without weights. It's much easier for the squatter. But the heavier weights will make you stronger. You increase the load on the weight-bearing limbs, right?
That is the point with the half past and the shouldering, because they are actually improving the load on the hind legs.
Yes.
But the leg yield is not much.
The load on the hind legs is too wide for me to answer that question correctly. Because when you develop the horse's hind quarters, you don't just develop muscle, right? You can't just develop muscle, and that will do loads of cool things, but the idea is to develop movement.
Yeah.
So when the horse does his shoulder in, then the point is to increase the carrying power of the inside hind leg. And then you turn the horse around and do your shoulder in on the other side, and you increase the carrying power of the other inside hind leg. In the leg yield, you increase the pushing power of the inside hind leg.
As well.
You need pushing power too. You can't have impulsion with carrying power alone.
No.
And that is, I think that's why Guernier says that the passage is the first exercise where you really need precision, because you need both.
Yeah.
You need carrying power and pushing power in the same. And if you do lateral movements at the passage, then you're at it, right? That's gonna be a very heavy load to carry, unless you've made the horse just drop his back and then it carries his weight on the front anyway, right? So it's developing pushing power and carrying power.
Yeah.
And it's the most interesting part to me about all these exercises is that they all increase different things. And we're going to take the haunches in as an example, which we're just watching. We were watching haunches in, or the first try that Mandarb did of a haunches in, which resulted in a couple of steps where he actually crossed his hind legs a little bit. And
then he stopped because it was really heavy.
That was really difficult.
Yeah.
Which means that I was probably onto something. And I'm not saying that it was amazing, because it was not amazing, but it was good enough.
It was good because he tried.
We can see here.
Because the point is not to make the horse move with his hindquarters at the side.
You can see that the hind legs are sort of you can see them giving a little bit when they land. When he puts the leg down, you can see that the whole horse goes right. You can see that especially in the beginning, like the first 2 or 3 strides of this. You can see the whole leg goes when it lands. The whole leg bends a little bit. You see that?
Yeah.
That means there's carrying power.
Yeah, I think he's a very good boy there.
He is a very good boy.
Yeah.
That's why my tongue came out. I learned that from Michael Jordan. He used to do that.
Can you say something about what you're doing with your aids when you're doing this?
Yeah, I'm moving my weight to the inside. I try to do that when the outside hind is in airborne. And then I try to move my right leg back in order to make the right hind come forward, so the inside hind come forward. And if I manage, it's so difficult to do when the horse doesn't do the same thing, because he'll push you to the outside in the exact moment when you should be on the inside, and movements,
And of
all
course,
that sort of stuff.
and of course, when the horse gets it,
Yeah.
and
Then it's easy, and you
Yeah.
don't, and then you just say, I don't do anything. I just sit here.
yeah,
But I do a whole lot. So I try to keep my weight on the inside. I try to keep the outside leg further back. And try to in the beginning, it feels like you have to push the horse with your outside leg. That is, of course, an impossibility.
and the aids for the half pass like this is very close to the aids for canter, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is the difference? Many horses misunderstand, don't they?
Yes, the difference is intent and energy.
And seat, I guess.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It's
one of the reasons why these are advanced.
In the canter, I want my legs to do the same thing, sort of outside. There we go. Outside, one leg a little bit further back than the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to canter like this, but I want to canter forward.
Yeah.
There we go. This was really difficult. In the haunches in or half pass, I want the horse to move inside hind forward, outside hind over.
Yeah. So you actually.
So my seat moves sideways.
Mm-hmm.
In the canter, it moves forwards, but twisted.
Yep.
So it doesn't move straight forward. It moves the inside first or more.
Right.
Depending on, yeah. But at the outset, it is extremely similar.
Yes.
In the first stride, you want the inside hind to come forward and outside hind to cross over. So the inside hind, if you say now, then the horse will go what?
Yep.
And then you say and now outside, then the horse goes oh canter.
Yes. In the beginning, they often will do that.
Yeah.
And especially if the rider is not precise.
Yes.
But that is okay.
Yeah, because the precision that we're talking about, that you said now, the precision that we're talking about in the horse and rider, isn't something that the rider can do alone. You can't be precise in dancing with your partner if you're the only one who's precise and your partner is just bouncing around. That's not precise dancing.
No.
If you're dancing alone, yeah, by all means. But if you're dancing with someone, then it's probably good to dance with them.
Yeah. So the horse needs to be able to do it as well.
Yeah.
So then we have to just practice.
Practice.
That is why it's called exercises.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you
right.
exercise. It's not a trick. You can of course teach the horse to do walk with the hindquarters to the side as a trick.
You can call anything a trick, but the point here is that if you teach the horse to move his hindquarters or shoulders, for that matter, to the inside or outside or whatever it may be, the only thing you're gonna manage to do is to make the hind legs straight, and then some joints will be a lot more flexible, but the others won't do anything. So it's that infamous balance between carrying power and pushing power. That's what makes the haunches in such an extremely good exercise, because one of my favorite subjects, because you get to the point where the horse has 4 hind legs. It's got the right inside hind, the right outside hind, and the left inside hind and the left outside hind. So it's got 4 hind legs. So in the shoulder in, you got the inside hind working harder, moving forward but bending a little bit. In the haunches in or the half pass, you get inside hind moving forward, bending, pushing forward, and then outside hind has to reach over, and now the inside hind has to bend even more in order for the outside hind to be able to reach the ground without becoming straight.
This is important.
So the horse has to sit down in all his joints in the hindquarters in order to do a correct half pass.
And if you do that in canter, what you explained now,
yeah,
it's very easy to do a pirouette.
Yeah, it comes very natural, especially on the right rein. mostly.
Yes. Let's talk about that in another
Let's
stream.
talk about straightness in another video.
And
All right. Is there even more video, or are we?
You're trotting in was one.
I'm trotting.
Here you have the haunches in.
Yeah.
But then now you're doing it. You did it on the diagonal.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it on the track.
Yeah.
And then, and it's a good thing to try to do it on different places in the arena.
Yeah.
Because for some horses it's easier to do it on the track.
Yeah.
Some horses it's easier to do it on the diagonal.
Be very careful doing the haunches in on the track though, because it is very easy to emphasize the crookedness of the horse.
Yeah. And just be happy when he's moving like crookedly with the haunches to the inside.
Yes, because the inside hind is supposed to push you forward, and it can't.
And now you're doing head to the wall, sort of.
Yeah.
This is a very good way to train the horse to cross his hind legs.
Yeah. So what I tried to do here was I tried to show that this particular exercise, the head to the wall, it lends itself very well to different bends and different angles. So just a little bit bend in the beginning, then more bend, then I'm moving his haunches in, and then I'm moving his haunches in more and more and more and more. And that makes him, now he got into carrying, you saw that? So instead of just pushing himself sideways, he had to carry a bit when he comes almost straight towards the fence, right?
And now I think it's important that we talk about the outside rein, because here in lateral movements, it's important that we, many people have different difficulties with the horses sort of not moving sideways, because they forget the outside rein. Because if you forget the outside rein, the horse will just bend his neck.
Yep.
And not cross over his hind legs. So if we can see that video again, because I think that we can see that clearly that you're using, and now the left rein is the outside rein.
Yeah. So the one near us, right? And
here you've just bent his neck, and then
I took up the left rein more,
and
to
then
get his haunches out.
Yeah. So it's easy here to see in this video. Many that are not very accustomed to doing the lateral movements, they're doing just what you're doing in the beginning. You're doing this on purpose because you want him to just bend, and then you say you're using your right leg and your left rein. So inside leg to outside rein.
Yep. Cool.
And then you get the lateral movement.
Yeah. Let's move on. Next, please. What's this now?
Now you're trying the
this way. That's not going to work.
Yeah. And now you can see that you get the...
Where do I put my hind legs?
But then you know that this is difficult for this horse.
I'll go forward.
Oh, Dad, this is so unnecessary, he says.
Yeah, this is the dangerous spot on the riding arena, he finds. So you can see that I struggle really with getting my left leg in the right place. Yeah, you can just pop by this one. This doesn't show anything really. It shows the horse struggling.
Yeah. Let's see the next one.
Yeah, if there's a next one.
Yeah, there is.
That was the last one?
No, this is the last one.
This is the last one.
This is the last one.
All right. All right, so we see some leg yield at the trot. And some more leg yield at the trot.
And here you can see that it's easier for this horse to do it in the trot. And it's often... the horse doesn't need to stretch that much when he's trotting.
No.
Because there is a suspension face.
Yeah, so the top line gets to stay the same length all the time while the leg is moving.
So it's important to train in all gaits.
Yep.
And I think the rhythm is okay with him right in this.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm. And now you're just bending him a little to the outside and testing out what he can do. And this is we have purposefully chosen horses that are not very experienced in these exercises to show how we're using the exercises to help the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure that people who are very good at doing these exercises, they don't need to see a video of it.
No, and then they will find faults all over the place here, of course, which is sort of the point.
Yeah. But I think that in just this session, because all these videos were taken in the same session, you can see that he has improved very well.
Yep. One of the reasons for him, or one of the reasons that makes it easier for him to leg yield at the trot compared to the walk, like you were talking about, is that there is naturally more pushing power in the trot. Mm-hmm. So he's already pushing himself forward. Mm-hmm. And it is also a typical thing for me to have horses that are better at carrying than pushing, to put it very nicely. So that's also one of the things that we've looked at. Mm-hmm. All right, we're more or less through, are we?
Yeah, but let's just it's almost an hour, so yeah. Yeah,
not bad. You just said that one of the reasons at least, that we show this with horses that aren't amazing at it, is that we want to show horses that aren't amazing at it, and there's
and how to start, how to be able to go through the difficulties, the stiffness, the coordination problems, so that you can see that it's not supposed to look perfect the first time you do it.
Of course not.
No.
Nothing is meant to be perfect the first time.
So just do it. Continue doing it, and then you will manage.
Mm. There is one more reason, though, and that is that our most educated horse had to leave for greener pastures.
Sadly, yes.
Last week. Aris, my buddy, had to move on. He has had an injury over the last couple of years.
He's had it for many years, but it's gradually become worse.
Yes, he was kicked during mating.
No, he was trying to mate. He broke into a mare's paddock, and
the point was mating for him, at least.
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain. Actually,
it was not.
And she said no pretty loud, which is
with shoes off.
Yes, she would have to be allowed, of course, to say no to such. Unfortunately, because he had broken out of his paddock and into hers, she was still shod. So this made an injury that we have not been able to turn around. We have been able to keep it on the same level for long stretches of time, and then somewhat improving. But then we've had setbacks over and over, and we were just not able now to keep him going anymore. So we let him go before he lost any of his awesomeness. It was a tough week for us. But what do you say? The king is dead. Long live the king.
Yeah.
Other than that, follow us on this here. Do you have questions?
Hey.
We have one question, and I think it's in regard to the white horse, but I'm not sure. It's a bit unclear. But out of the question, I'm thinking the white horse. And let's see. Why is the horse so careful, and why isn't he stepping underneath?
Yeah, that's a good one. Could we find the white one again? Yeah, it is easier to see in the shoulder in. Can you see if you can find the shoulder in, please? Should be the first white one, I think. The first white video. It's all right. There we go. So you can see in the beginning he tries to step forward, and then he changes. Now he tries to carry a little bit. And some of the strides he still just pushes. You see this? So he tries to carry properly from behind. If it's this horse, that's the question. Then the problem with this horse has been that his hips or knees or even higher up has been problematic throughout his life, probably. And he's actually moving better and better now, believe it or not. So he's careful because the rider asks him to try and do something that the horse finds difficult. That's number one. Number two, he's not stepping underneath because he's struggling to step forward. All right. So if it was the white horse, that's the answer I can give there. If it was the black horse, then the reason he doesn't step forward is much the same. Also, of course, what I'm good at is making the horse sit down. I'm not that good at making the horse push off, which is one of the reasons I'm working on the leg yield quite a bit these days.
But it depends also about, many people think that the horse should step underneath with a longer stride with a hind leg.
Yeah.
And that is often, we find that the horse shouldn't step under with a hind leg that is sort of straight when he steps under, because then he lands with a straight leg. That looks like he's sort of stretching under the what's it called, the point of gravity in the horse. But you also need to look at the movement forwards also, so that the horse we're trying in these exercises, we're trying to teach the horse to move forwards with a bent leg. Yes,
this needs to be addressed again, and it's very important. Very good that we get the question actually. These exercises, except maybe the leg yield, have no value if the hind leg is straight when it hits the ground. If it is, then the value of the exercise is absolutely zero. So in order for the exercise to have any purpose whatsoever, we need a little bit of bend as the leg hits the ground. You can see in the black horse that, like we had described, you could see that the whole hind end and the leg, you can see it yield just a little bit just as it touches down. You can see the same in some of the strides in the white horse. Not all of the strides, but some. Same with the black one. And that means that the training is just on the limit of where the horse is able to actually do that. So if you can get some bend, that's good. That means that you have an ounce of collection in your exercise.
Yes.
If you look to the training scales and find that you have all things up that scale and also some collection, then it is probably good. If the hind leg is straight, there is no collection. You can call it whatever you like then, but it isn't a collection.
So in order to get the hind leg more under, you will need the horse to lift his back more and tuck his pelvis under more.
Yes.
And then he can reach under the point of gravity with a bent hind leg as well.
Yep.
And then you get more collection. But these horses are not yet ready for that kind of collection.
No. And I want to address this in one more way. The way a warm blood trotter will move his legs when he's racing his hind leg will move straight, but out to the side, forward, hit the ground straight, move backwards, and keep going like that. It won't bend.
But it's very far under the horse.
It is it's so far forward that it has to track on the outside of the front leg that's still on the ground on this side, so they cross each other.
Yeah.
And this does not mean that the racehorse is collecting. However far forward that leg reaches, it isn't collection.
It was a very good question.
Very nice. Any others? That's the one. Oh, all right, the one. Just occurred to me that Neo is like an anagram of one. But enough of that.
It's been 20 years.
It was a lie. I didn't get it now.
So next time we have to see what we are able to show in our videos, because it depends on the horses.
Yep.
So we're going to try to see if we can do some piafs, passage, or some pirouettes. But you need to be. We have ordinary horses that have had troubles, and they're not specifically athletic. So it's not going to be spectacular, but it's got to be showing you how to do it with your own horse.
That's what we do always. All right. Find us on Facebook. Right where you are, of course. Follow us there. Follow our other page too, the Magic Trollspelen.
Yeah.
Where we show you all sorts of stuff, where like tournaments and stuff. At the moment, we're building a castle. We are slowly though.
The rocks are heavy. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're getting back to that. So, yeah.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks. And other than that, I don't have so much to say. See if you can find a clinic.
Yeah.
If you're in
Goodbye.
nearby. Goodbye.